Hi, I'm Sandra and welcome to Cooking and Crafts. We have a great show planned for you today. And before we get started, I'd just like to say a huge thanks to everyone at the Varnell Community Center for the use of their wonderful facility. It is absolutely great. Let me give you just a sneak preview of some of the things we're going to talk about today. The first thing I'm going to start with are some workspace ideas. What are some things that you might want to consider putting in a desk at home or maybe the place where you work? Also, I'm going to show you two really simple and quick arts and crafts, and then we're going to wrap everything up by cooking some hush puppies. I'll see you back in just a little bit.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
Hi, I'm Sandra and welcome back to Cooking and Crafts. I have a huge assortment of things to show you for your workspace. I have a place at home. I actually have a little small desk. It's nothing elaborate, nothing big, but these are some things I like to have close, and when I go sit down at my desk, I like to work. I don't like to get up and find something and come back and sit down and then I have to get up again. Not only is that not a good use of my time, but it's also very bad on my knees getting up and down. So I have a job too, and at my work desk there, I want to have some things that make my work more productive and more efficient. So let's get started and let me show you some things. And you know, some of these things you might not use, but these are just giving you some ideas. I might show you something and you go, oh my goodness, she's shown me that, so I'm going to go get this and put it at my workspace. I always like a journal, something if I'm going to write something down that I want to keep something. Sometimes if you write it on small pieces of paper, you lose those small pieces of paper, but if you put it in one kind of book, you know what the book looks like, you have it, you know it's here. A great smelling candle is always a good thing. Now, it could be at your work site especially, you don't want to burn that. Sometimes it may be prohibited and it just smells good and it gives you that great aroma. I like to have some kind of clock. I am not a person that wears a watch. Sometimes my phone's not there, sometimes I can't see it on my computer. So this sort of keeps me on the right track and I know what time it is. I love little tissues. You know, I might get something in my eye, I might need to wipe my hands off. I like a little lotion every now and then too, because sometimes if you've been handling pages and paper, then my lotion's right there. It's a small tube, it doesn't take up a lot of space. I do a lot of corresponding and I write a lot of notes. I love the physical, actually stationery. Sending emails are great and I do it all the time, but I don't know, I just like that little personal touch of a note in stationery. So I have my stamps ready, I have my return addresses ready, and then I usually shop on sale and I can find some cute little stationery that's really nice and it can be used if I send something to a man or a woman, and it's always on hand if I have it. Can't live without my stapler. Can't live without my hole punch. In fact, I put my name on it in case I lend it out. They'll know it's mine. I don't use this very often, but when I do chip a nail, I've got to have just a little emery board. And if you've ever come in that situation that you have to have one and you don't, it's terrible. Sometimes I get headaches, so I always want to have something that will do away with my headache and make me feel better. I love glue sticks. I don't use them a lot, but I know they're there. Can't live without my paper clips. I definitely can't live without my hand gel because I'm using it constantly. Have you ever been at work or just somewhere and you just want a little bite to eat, or you got to have a piece of gum, or you got to have that cough drop? I just took a little clear container and just really small put some of those things in it. So while I'm working or while I'm on the computer, I don't have to get up and run and go, does anybody have a piece of chewing gum? I know it's here and I know it's there. I like to keep my business cards in this little container, and they stay neat, they stay clean, they don't get all crumpled up, and they're in something attractive, so if I take them out, they always look good. Can't see without my glasses, so I definitely always have a spare. Sometimes I have 2 spares. Index cards, I like those real quickly to write notes. They don't usually fall apart. They're a little sturdy. I can fold them up and put them in my pocket if I need to take something important with me. Love my little sticky Post-it notes. These are good because you can put them everywhere. Have to have a calculator, even though I have one on my computer. Rulers. I love multicolors of ink pens. Sometimes you're doing things and you want to highlight it with one color but then make another mark on it with a red. So you might want to have different colors. Can't live without my scissors, my staple remover. My tape dispenser is down here too. Love it because I sometimes tape those things on my wall or something that I need. I like little colorful envelopes because I can put things in them and then I can take them to a meeting, and they look good and they don't bend, and this is like a little plastic one. And then my messages or my notes, whatever I want to keep, is in there. I usually keep my information on my phone, but I tell you, I am a calendar person. As you can see for me, this month I have already got this almost filled, and I've got my little sticky notes around. I like the month at a glance. It just works for me, and you know, if it works on your phone for you, that is great. 2 last things that have really helped me is when I'm paying bills at home, I get folders, and they can be just a beige color or they can be this color. And when I pay a bill, even though I pay my bills online, I usually put some kind of note in my folder that I paid that bill and how much it was, and did I pay it online or did I pay it in person. And then if there's ever a question about that, I file these in my filing cabinet, and I can go directly and I can find that bill that I have in question. I don't have to rumble through and take 30 minutes to find something. I know exactly where it is. I tried to sort of convince my whole family to do this. We just have a composition book. Just find the least expensive thing you can find. If you make a phone call or you've got to talk to someone, write that down in this notebook. We found it at our house that we were writing them on little pieces of paper, and then we go, has anybody seen that telephone number? Because we didn't put it in our phone, we just wrote it down. And if you will put all of your correspondence in here, like if you're having trouble with something at your house and you call the repair person or you call some company, write it down. Write the date you called, who you talked to, and maybe what the solution was or how you were going to correct the solution, or just a little bit of note about your conversation. This can be put anywhere that you keep your things at home, and it looks good, it's out of the way. You can write for years in that book. And if you want to look for something, you don't have to look through 10 things in your cabinet. You go to that one notebook and you will find it there. And I still use my address book. I put everybody's phone number, address in here, just in case my phone kicks out, and I do have a hard copy to go back to. Hopefully these things will make your life just a little bit easier, and I have some more things to show you in just a second, so stay with me.
When the diagnosis is cancer, you want the best. Advanced surgical, radiation, and chemotherapy treatment, all available under one roof. a center large enough to treat advanced or complex cases, a dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and therapists treating each patient the way they would want to be treated. It's all here at Hamilton Regional Cancer Institute. Hamilton Medical Center. Your health is our mission.
Have you ever wondered why you cannot achieve a flat tummy like you had when you were a teenager? In spite of exercise, it seems like you're getting nowhere. It could be that you've had children and it's just impossible to achieve without having surgery. With a procedure called an abdominoplasty, we have specialized techniques that can repair the damage that has been done with the pregnancy or the weight loss. We can help you to achieve a flatter, tighter tummy like you had in your younger years.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close of wanting
to making history. This close to changing the world.
We are this close.
This close. This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again. This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
Ending polio. All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Hi, this is Sandra and welcome back to Cooking and Crafts. I have two wonderful little arts and crafts for you, but these are things for the family and these are things that are close to your heart. So they're simple, they don't take any money to get these done, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. At my house, when my child grew up, and I think even my mom and dad did this, we had a growth chart. I know I would stand at between the door, and my daddy would mark the top of my head with like a pencil or something, and then somewhere in beside the facing, he would write how old I was and how tall I was, and then would sort of drive my mother crazy because, you know, that was there forever. Well, we can have something that we don't have to do that. And also, if you move, like if you live in a house and then you move somewhere away, how are you going to have those memories and those things to stay with you because you don't want to rip the facing off the wall? So this is what I've done. I've just cut a piece of burlap, and you can buy burlap wherever they sell fabric, and you can buy it by the yard, and you just need just a small amount. I would say probably 1/4 of a yard, the smallest amount they'll sell you. And I just cut it, and it does ravel because burlap is woven, but that's fine. I went to the store and I got some huge safety pins. And at the top, I just got a piece of ribbon and I put my pin up here. Now, when you get this to your house, you'll have to always hang it in the same place. You'll always have to maybe measure from the bottom of the base of the floor because you can't hang it in separate places because it won't give you an accurate measurement. But have somewhere in your house that you know where you're going to hang it, even if you move houses. And this will help you hang it up. And then when your child stands up, what you do is just put your safety pin there. And I like the handwritten aspect. You can type this on a computer, print it out, and stick it on it. But what I've done to tell how old or how tall my child was, I just got some little cards and I made it myself out of cardstock. I took my hole punch. I've got these page reinforcers that I put here at the top. And then I'm just going to write. I write when my child is a certain age. I always start with a name, and then I'm going to put the age on it, and then I'm going to put the date that I took the height measurement. And like I said, if you have more than one child, you could do different colors. So I've got this representing a child in the white and then a different child in the blue. And then you would measure your child's height, put your safety pin in, and then you'll mark it here. And the good thing about this is you can roll it up and keep it in a box. After your child gets older and gets to be an adult, then you can give it to them. And I like the handwritten note on it. If your child's old enough to write, you can actually get them to write their name and how old they are and what dates you took their height measurement. But this is something really good, and If you don't like the fabric cut out, you can get wide pieces of ribbon that you can do that on there too. And I chose a burlap because it goes with any color, and it's just sort of good for boys and it's good for girls. It's not real frilly looking. And then like I said, when they get older, you can just roll this up and store it in a nice box, and it's something nice to give them, and they can pass it on to their children. Memories are great for families. This is something I did with my daughter a few years ago, and we loved it. You can take some kind of container. You can actually use a box. I've got this little cute box with a lid. I like this one because you can display it. What you do is I just did this on my computer. I just thought about things that my daughter had done. We call this Remember When. It's like, remember the time that our family first went to Disney World. And we try to think of uplifting things and positive things, not, remember when you were driving and you got a flat tire. We try to stay away from those things, even though they're funny sometimes now. But just type anything that you want to. And then what you do is just roll it up. You could handwrite this if you wanted to. You wouldn't necessarily have to print it. I'm going to tie it with ribbon, and to hold it in place, I'm going to put just a little bit of paper clip there on the top. I have found out from my years of teaching school and doing this, don't cut your ribbon first. If you cut your ribbon, you either have too much or you don't have enough. Your bow is lopsided and you've got a little bit of ribbon on this side and you've got this much ribbon on that side. You have to cut it off and you just waste it. So I'm going to attempt to tie a bow here. So what you do is just put it on here. You want to tie a little knot, just like this. And I just make a knot. I don't necessarily make a bow. And what I do is I just cut my ribbon off where I want to. This end, it looks okay, but if I wanted to cut it off a little bit, I could. Slide your paper clip off. If your loop is not quite big enough, I put the scissors in here. I put the scissors in here and sort of open the scissors a little bit, and it goes against it, and it will open your little roll out, and you actually have a little thing that looks like a diploma. And what I did for my daughter the first time was I made this for her birthday, and I made 365 of them. And they were things that she had done throughout her lifetime, like remember the day you got your driver's license. And they were just things that we always wanted to remember. My goal was for her to open one of these a day. Sometimes she went a little bit overboard, and I think she sat down and opened most of them at the same time. But you could use your creative mind, and you could do tons of stuff for these. Like I said, at my family, we call it Remember When. It's just family memories that we have good times of. You could do little quotes or famous sayings for people that are about to get a job, or if someone is having a new baby in their family, you could go online and research some little tips about children, or things to do for them, or just things that you've done in your family for your children. It could be a happy birthday thing like I did for my daughter. It could be someone moving away, getting a new job, going to college. It could be anything that you want it to be. We display ours in a little, like I said, plastic container. I put some little red filling under the bottom because it makes it just a little bit more colorful. And of course you could use any kind of ribbon. You could put a rubber band around it if you didn't want to do the ribbon. But these are special things that are very important for your family. So make a growth chart, do Remember When, and I think you'll enjoy them. I'll see you back in just a second.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
At Hamilton Medical Center, your health is our mission. It's why everything we do is with you in mind. It's why our associates and physicians are constantly advancing their skills with education and training. It's why we're reaching out into the communities we serve to improve the health of all residents. It's why we're ranked in the top 3% of all hospitals in the U.S. for overall hospital care, based on independent research conducted by CareChecks, a division of Comparian. Hamilton Medical Center. Your health is our mission.
Have you ever heard the term, your eyes are your expressions, the windows to your soul? But when your eyelids look tired and they start to sag, it will make you look much older than you actually are. There is a simple surgical procedure called a blepharoplasty or eyelid tuck, which can help to rejuvenate and redefine the contours around your eyelids. It will even improve your fields of vision, and a portion may even be covered by insurance. We can help redefine how others see you.
Hi, I'm Sandra and welcome back to Cooking and Crafts. I have a wonderful recipe to show you, and I'm going to be talking as I'm making it. We're going to do hush puppies, and what we're going to do is, I love hush puppies, but I always dislike the fact that sometimes they I was thinking there were too many calories, that they were deep fried, and I had to watch them. So we're going to do hush puppy muffins. In here, I put 2/3 a cup of cornmeal. Remember when you're measuring dry ingredients that you need to use a dry or solid measuring cup. The amount will be at the top, and then what you do is you take a knife and you level it off. Because in baking products like this, you'll want to get an accurate measurement. If not, your finished product might turn out, it might not turn out. And also when you do this, every time you make it, it turns out the same. So again, in the bowl, I put 2/3 cup of cornmeal. I have 1/3 cup of plain or all-purpose flour. And I just sort of like to stir a little bit as I go. And I just like a wooden spoon. I don't know, it just stirs things up better for me. I'm going to also add to this a teaspoon of salt. And I just have my salt shaker. And there's my teaspoon of salt. And we'll put that over there so I hopefully won't knock it over. And I like to stir as I go. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Again, I've just got my black pepper container. Put a little an 1/8 of a teaspoon in there. I can already smell all the pepper and the salt going on. And I like to, before I'm going to add any of my other ingredients, I just like to stir it up just a little bit. Okay, to that I'm going to add, get a small onion, and I use half of it, and I'm going to mince it up. That means just chop it up very, very finely. You don't want to find huge pieces of onion in your hush puppies. That's not very appealing or appetizing. And what will happen is that onion will be coated with your flour and cornmeal mixture. Okay, what I like to do when I'm cooking is I like to look and make sure I've added everything. One time I was cooking something, I left out the eggs, and they weren't very good. So I have my 2/3 cup of cornmeal in here. I have my 1/3 cup of plain flour. I have my teaspoon of salt. I have my 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, and then I put my half of onion that I've minced, I put it in here. I have already gone ahead and broken 1 egg in a little container, and I'm just going to mix it up. I like to do this with a fork. To me, it's better than getting my whisk out, and you don't have to be very, very whipping it or beating it forever, just so long that you get it in there. And what you do is you just want to mix this until it's sort of blended up. To this, I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, your choice. And then the last thing I'm going to add is my milk. And I have 1/3 of a cup of milk, And make sure that you measure liquids in the liquid container. And the reason being is that it gives that extra room for your liquid to sort of mound up. If you measure liquids in the dry and solid, you probably won't have an accurate amount. And your food might turn out okay, and then again, it might not. So I have everything in here, and I'm just stirring it. You don't have to use a mixer. You don't have to mix it for a long period of time. I'm going to put that on my paper there. I have prepared my little muffin pan. This recipe will make about a dozen, and I've already preheated my oven also to 350 degrees. And also, I have sprayed my little pans with some oil, because after you cook these, you do want them to come out. If you're going to take this somewhere and you're fearful that when you get these out of the oven that they won't come out, I have found these little wonderful mini muffin cups. And that way, whatever you cook in it, you can rest assured that it's not going to stick, because you just take this out and your Hush Puppy muffin will be in there. And I like to just drop this in with 2 spoons. I don't know, to me it's better. I've seen some people do it with an ice cream scoop. But for me, I can get a more accurate amount. This is going to make a pretty full muffin cup. And you know what? You could do it in a larger muffin pan if you wanted to. I just like the small ones because it looks more like a Hush Puppy. And usually this is a serving that everybody wants. This is good also, of course, at home with fish and chicken and things. But this is also good with chili and soup and things like that. And we're going to pretend that the rest of those are filled up there. And I'm going to show you the best product is the finished product. And here's the muffins. I hope you're not counting, because I only have 10 here instead of 12, because my family and I, we sort of got into them after they came out of the oven just a little bit ago. But what you'll do is you'll, of course, use all the rest of your batter. You'll go ahead and fill all your muffin cup up, or your muffin pan. And don't leave any ingredients in your pan. If you have some left over, cook this first batch. When it comes out, cook another one. Because if you leave this in here, you're going to be wasting your ingredients, you're going to be wasting your food, and of course that's wasting money. And you're not going to have those great muffins to cook. So I think these are just about filled up. And if I didn't get some of them full enough, you can always go back and you can add some at the end. So I've got a little mixture left over, so what I would probably do is cook these and then come back and make another pan. And your finished product is absolutely wonderful. Thank you for joining me on Cooking and Kraus. Make this Hush Puppy muffin at home, and I'll see you next time.
To advertise your business on TV, contact Elliott Media at 706-529-4237.